step away from the gate. Sarah barely blinked before two security guards yanked her ID badge and shoved her back toward the civilian lot. "You think you belong here?" sneered Chief Rodriguez, voice loud enough to turn heads. The sun scorched down on Whiteman Air Force Base, but it wasn't the heat making Sarah's cheeks burn. It was the humiliation, the silence, the looks-worn jeans, faded flannel. Harmless until someone saw the faint ink on her arm, Rodriguez's smirk faltered. "Get Colonel Davis, now!" His voice had changed. Sarah said nothing. She just stared straight ahead, like she knew this moment would come. Rodriguez signals two military police officers with a sharp gesture, ordering them to escort her off base immediately. Other personnel pause in their morning routines, some pulling out phones to capture the spectacle of a civilian being removed from the premises. Sarah remains perfectly calm, doesn't resist or argue, simply allows the MPs to grip her arms as they begin leading her toward the gate. It's in that moment, as they maneuver her roughly, that her sleeve rides up just enough to reveal part of a distinctive tattoo, military unit insignia barely visible beneath the fabric. The design is intricate, professional, the kind of ink that tells a story to those who know how to read it. But Colonel Hayes, walking nearby with his morning coffee, freezes mid-stride. His eyes lock onto that partially visible tattoo, and the blood drains from his face as recognition dawns. He knows that insignia, has seen it in classified briefings, in reports marked with the highest security clearances. His coffee cup trembles slightly in his hand as he watches Sarah being led away, her dignity intact despite the public humiliation. Have you ever been judged before someone knew your story? Sometimes the quietest people carry the heaviest burdens. Tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Sarah Mitchell lives in a modest apartment just 15 minutes from the base, a deliberate choice that keeps her close to the work she's drawn to, like a moth to flame. At 34, she maintains a Spartan existence, no family photos on the walls, no personal mementos cluttering the surfaces. Her living space reflects a life stripped down to essentials, each item serving a purpose, nothing superfluous or sentimental visible to casual observation. She works as an independent civil engineering contractor, specializing in military infrastructure with a precision that makes her invaluable to base operations. Colleagues know her as competent but quiet, someone who arrives early, works late, and never discusses what she did before she started fixing pipes and power systems. Her daily routine speaks of ingrained discipline that civilian life hasn't erased. She wakes at 0500 hours without an alarm, muscle memory pulling her from sleep at the exact moment she's trained her body to activate. Coffee comes black and strong, consumed while reviewing technical manuals that would bore most people to tears, but which she absorbs with the intensity of someone reading sacred texts. Her practical pickup truck, equipped with a well-organized toolbox, serves as both transportation and mobile office. She dresses simply, long sleeves regardless of weather, hair always pulled back, no makeup or jewelry except for a plain digital watch that she checks with military precision. On base, her professional reputation precedes her like a shadow. Maintenance crews speak of her work in hushed, respectful tones. She fixes what others can't, understands military specifications with an intuitive grasp that suggests more than civilian training. She never needs to see blueprints twice, memorizing complex systems after a single glance. Other contractors wonder privately why she knows so much about classified systems, why she can navigate restricted areas with the confidence of someone who belongs there. They notice things. How she maintains perfect physical fitness despite a job that doesn't require it. How technical knowledge flows from her that exceeds any civilian education. How stress brings out an instinctive military bearing she can't quite suppress. Her apartment holds secrets in its very emptiness. No personal photos grace the walls, but one drawer remains locked, its contents hidden from even her closest acquaintances. Sometimes she stands at her window, watching military aircraft pass overhead, with a familiarity that speaks of intimate knowledge. She uses military time unconsciously, catches herself before saying Roger instead of okay, keeps her distinctive tattoos carefully hidden under long sleeves, even in sweltering summer heat. These small tells paint a picture of someone running from a past that refuses to stay buried. Inside that locked drawer, folded with precision that would pass any inspection, lies a uniform that hasn't seen daylight in years. Commendation ribbons rest in their velvet case, each one representing moments of courage and sacrifice. A group photo shows younger faces all wearing the same unit patch. Steel Angels, 52nd Combat Engineering Battalion. Sarah's face appears among them, younger and proud, the only woman in a unit of combat engineers who specialized in the most dangerous job in modern warfare, explosive ordnance disposal in active combat zones. Her expression in the photo radiates confidence, belonging, purpose. Everything her current life seems to lack. Rodriguez's vendetta against Sarah begins to spread through the base like a virus. He tells anyone who'll listen about the civilian troublemaker who dared to question his authority, embellishing the story with each retelling. Claims she was disrespectful, challenging the very foundation of military order. He files an official complaint with the base commander, his report dripping with indignation. "We can't have contractors thinking they run this place," he insists to his subordinates, building a case against someone whose only crime was existing in his sphere of influence. The security chief's analytical mind, twisted by prejudice, reviews Sarah's contractor access protocols with obsessive attention. Her clearance is legitimate, he can't deny that, but it came through unusual channels, an expedited approval from high command that bypassed normal vetting procedures. This irregularity irritates him further, suggesting she has connections above his pay grade, protection from someone who outranks his petty authority. The thought that a mere civilian contractor might have influence he lacks gnaws at his ego like acid. Word of Rodriguez's campaign spreads through the base grapevine. Personnel begin watching Sarah differently when she arrives for work. Some remain supportive. They've seen her solve problems that stumped entire engineering teams, witnessed her dedication to keeping their facilities operational. Others grow suspicious. Rodriguez's poison taking root in minds predisposed to distrust outsiders. The tension builds incrementally each time she passes through the gate, each security check becoming more thorough, more invasive, more designed to humiliate than protect. Base Intelligence Officer Captain Williams, a methodical man who prides himself on thorough investigations, starts asking questions about the controversial contractor. Other civilians mention Sarah's unusual expertise in passing conversation. Maintenance crews, loyal to competence over politics, describe her uncanny knowledge of systems that should be mysteries to someone without military training. The pieces don't fit the narrative Rodriguez is pushing, and Williams has built his career on finding truth in contradictions. Rodriguez escalates his persecution, filing a formal security violation report that stretches truth to its breaking point. He claims Sarah was found in restricted areas without proper escort, conveniently omitting that such access is standard for someone with her job classification. His demand that her contractor status be revoked comes with barely concealed glee. "She's hiding something, I can feel it," he tells Williams, mistaking his own prejudice for instinct. Williams, following proper protocol despite his growing doubts about Rodriguez's motivations, runs Sarah's biometrics through military databases. The system returns an immediate flag that makes his blood run cold. "Contact Personnel Command immediately." This isn't a normal response, not for a civilian contractor. It triggers protocols reserved for matters of national security, for identities that exist in the shadows between life and death. His investigation suddenly takes on dimensions he hadn't anticipated. Whispered conversations begin to ripple through the base. Personnel who work closely with Sarah start connecting dots they'd previously ignored. The way she carries herself. Back straight, shoulders squared, eyes constantly scanning for threats. How she instinctively knows military protocols, uses proper radio etiquette without thinking, maintains spacing in groups that speaks of combat zone training. Sergeant Jackson mentions to his squad the tattoo he glimpsed during a repair job in the motor pool. Military insignia too detailed to be mere decoration, too specific to be coincidence. Rodriguez's reputation becomes inextricably tied to proving Sarah represents a security risk. His credibility, built over years of he believes faithful service, now depends entirely on being right about her. The pressure mounts as other security personnel begin questioning his judgment, wondering if his zealousness has crossed into persecution. But he's too far committed to back down now, his ego demanding vindication even as evidence mounts that he's tragically, catastrophe wrong about the quiet woman who just wants to fix broken systems in peace. The setup for confrontation arrives on a humid morning when Rodriguez, emboldened by the base commander's order to resolve the contractor issue once and for all, corners Sarah during a routine maintenance call in Hangar 7. He brings 2 MPs as backup, their presence meant to intimidate, to establish the power dynamic before a word is spoken. "We know you're hiding something," he announces, his voice echoing off the metal walls. "Time to come clean about your real agenda here." The accusation hangs in the air like a challenge, drawing the attention of every mechanic, every pilot, every person within earshot who stops their work to witness what's unfolding. Sarah doesn't defend herself, doesn't offer explanations or excuses. She simply stands there, tool bag at her feet, hands relaxed at her sides, meeting Rodriguez's aggressive posture with quiet dignity. Her silence seems to enrage him further, interpreting her calm as defiance rather than the self-control it represents. "People like you think you can waltz into our house and disrespect our uniform," he continues, his volume increasing with each word, playing to the growing audience. The irony that she's shown nothing but respect while he publicly berates her escapes him entirely, lost in his need to assert dominance. The crowd swells as word spreads through the hangar that something significant is happening. Some personnel position themselves in Sarah's corner, remembering kindnesses shown, problems solved, late nights she spent ensuring their equipment worked properly. Others remain uncertain, caught between Rodriguez's authority and their own observations. The tension becomes electric, crackling through the space like the prelude to a thunderstorm. Rodriguez feels the weight of all those watching eyes, interprets their attention as validation, doubles down on his accusations with renewed venom. "You think because you know a few technical terms, because you can turn a wrench, that makes you one of us?" His words slice through the air, each one designed to wound, to diminish, to remind everyone present of the hierarchy he believes she's violated simply by existing in his domain. Sarah's hands remain steady, but those watching closely notice her jaw tighten almost imperceptibly, the only sign that his words are finding their mark despite her stoic exterior. Captain Williams arrives like a cold wind, the crowd parting before him as he approaches with military bearing and a tablet clutched in his hand. His investigation is complete, the pieces of a puzzle he didn't know he was solving finally forming a picture that defies everything Rodriguez has been claiming. "Ma'am," he addresses Sarah with notably more respect than Rodriguez has shown, "I need you to roll up your sleeves. This is official business." The request seems strange to those watching, but Williams' tone brooks no argument, carries the weight of someone who's discovered something profound. Sarah looks around at the faces surrounding her, mechanics she's worked alongside, pilots whose aircraft she's kept operational, support staff who've shared coffee and small talk during long shifts. A lifetime of keeping secrets, of honoring a promise made in the shadow of death, wars with the injustice of this moment. Slowly, deliberately, with movements that carry the weight of revelation, she begins rolling up her sleeves. First the right, then the left, each motion precise and measured as if performing a ritual. The collective gasp that rises from the crowd seems to stop time itself. Her left arm bears a tattoo of exceptional detail, the 52nd Combat Engineering Battalion patch, rendered with the precision of someone who earned the right to wear it. But it's her right arm that tells the deeper story. Names etched in elegant script, each followed by dates and GPS coordinates that any veteran recognizes as locations in Afghanistan. Below those, more coordinates with dates that correspond to military operations, and at the bottom, two simple notations that make several observers step back in recognition. Bronze star coordinates, purple heart date. William's face drains of color as he processes what he's seeing. His fingers fly across the tablet, pulling up classified files that require his highest security clearance to access. When he speaks, his voice carries across the suddenly silent hangar like a ghost story coming to life. Staff Sergeant Sarah Mitchell, 52nd Combat Engineering, reported KIA Afghanistan 2013. The words hang in the air, impossible and undeniable, as every person present grapples with the implications of what they're hearing. The silence that follows is absolute, sacred, the kind that falls in churches and cemeteries. Even Rodriguez stops talking, his mouth hanging open as his brain struggles to process information that contradicts everything he's believed, everything he's said, everything he's done. The weight of realization settles over the crowd like a shroud, transforming the atmosphere from confrontation to something approaching reverence. Sarah's voice, when she finally speaks, comes from somewhere deep and distant, as if she's reaching back through years of carefully maintained silence to access memories she's kept locked away. The tunnel was collapsing around me. 17 IEDs in a chain reaction. I was disarming the last one when the ceiling came down. Her words paint a picture of horror with the matter-of-fact tone of someone who's lived through the unimaginable. 3 days buried alive, digging through rubble with bare hands. When I finally crawled out, the base was gone, my unit evacuated. They'd already held my memorial service. Williams continues reading from the classified file, his voice steady despite the emotion evident in his eyes. Sergeant Mitchell single-handedly defused 17 improvised explosive devices during coordinated Taliban assault on forward operating base Warrior. Saved over 200 personnel. Declared dead after explosion collapsed tunnel system. Each word adds weight to the truth being revealed, transforming Sarah from persecuted contractor to unrecognized hero in the span of heartbeats. I lost everything in that tunnel, Sarah continues, her gaze focused somewhere beyond the hangar walls, beyond the present moment. My identity, my brothers in arms, my purpose. Command said it was easier to keep me dead. Taliban had bounties on explosive specialists who'd cost them operations. I became a ghost to protect everyone I'd served with. The sacrifice implicit in her words, choosing to remain dead to keep others safe, resonates through the crowd like a physical force. The agreement she describes is both simple and devastating. Military intelligence created the civilian identity of Sarah Mitchell, relocated her far from anyone who might recognize the woman she'd been. The conditions were non-negotiable. Never reveal her military service, never claim the medals she'd earned with blood and courage, never contact her old unit or anyone from her former life. The price of staying alive was staying silent, accepting a kind of living death that honored the sacrifice her country believed she'd already made. Rodriguez's face cycles through a spectrum of emotions as the full weight of what he's done crashes over him. Disbelief gives way to horror, horror to shame, shame to something that might be the beginning of understanding. Other personnel stare at him with expressions ranging from disgust to pity, watching a man realize he's persecuted a hero who gave up everything to keep people like him safe. His authority, built on rigid hierarchy and unexamined prejudice, crumbles like sandcastles before an incoming tide. You want to know what I'm hiding? Sarah's voice gains strength, though it never rises above conversational level. I'm hiding the fact that I died for this country and lived to serve it again. I keep my word even when people like you make me remember why I stayed dead. The accusation lands with devastating precision, each word an indictment not just of Rodriguez, but of a system that could allow such injustice to occur. What would you do if you discovered someone's hidden heroic past? Share your thoughts. Colonel Hayes arrives at the hangar with the measured steps of someone who's just had his worldview fundamentally altered. The base commander reviews Williams's findings with growing comprehension, recognizing Sarah's true identity from classified briefings he'd attended years ago. The woman standing before him, humiliated and exposed by his security chief's prejudice, is the ghost story whispered in intelligence circles. The combat engineer who refused to die even when the mountain fell on her. His order comes swift and unequivocal. All harassment of Ms. Mitchell ceases immediately. Anyone who continues will answer to me personally. The honor dilemma that follows reveals the depth of Sarah's commitment to her sworn silence. Hayes wants to right this wrong in the most visible way possible: public recognition, restoration of military honors, a ceremony befitting someone who saved an entire forward operating base. But Sarah refuses, with the same quiet determination that kept her digging through tons of rubble with bloodied hands. I gave my word to stay dead, she says simply. Dead soldiers don't need parades. The statement carries a finality that even a colonel cannot override. Rodriguez's downfall unfolds with the inexorable momentum of justice delayed but not denied. His harassment of a decorated war hero becomes the scandal that rocks Whiteman Air Force Base. Every snide comment, every petty humiliation, every abuse of power is documented and reported up the chain of command. He faces immediate disciplinary action with the promise of worse to come, possible dismissal, certainly disgrace. The man who built his identity on protecting the base has become its greatest embarrassment. Sarah's terms for moving forward are characteristically modest. She'll continue her contractor work, fixing the systems that keep the base operational, but she wants Rodriguez removed from any possibility of interaction with her. No public recognition, no ceremony, no tearful reunions with surviving members of her unit. Just let me do my job in peace, she requests. The same thing she's wanted since arriving at Whiteman with her toolbox and her secrets. A quiet revolution spreads through the base in the wake of the revelation. Personnel who learn the truth through whispers and careful conversations treat Sarah with newfound respect that she neither seeks nor acknowledges. Maintenance crews go out of their way to make her job easier. Officers nod acknowledgement when they pass her in corridors, a subtle recognition that costs nothing but means everything. Rodriguez finds himself isolated, his former supporters distancing themselves from someone who could so spectacularly misjudge character. Professional recognition comes without fanfare, exactly as Sarah prefers. Base engineering specifically requests her for all major projects, her expertise no longer a mystery, but a resource to be carefully utilized. Her pay grade receives a quiet upgrade through administrative channels. No explanation needed or given. She remains a contractor in title, but everyone understands she's something more. A guardian angel in work boots and flannel, keeping their systems running with the same dedication she once applied to defusing bombs. Rodriguez's exile manifests as a transfer to a remote desk position, where his capacity for harm is neutralized. His career, built on rigid adherence to hierarchy and surface judgments, effectively ends with a whimper rather than the bang he might have preferred. The final image of his downfall comes as he packs his office, watching through the window as Sarah directs a major infrastructure repair project with the natural authority of someone who's earned respect through competence rather than rank. Sarah's choice to continue living simply, working quietly, serving without recognition, speaks to a definition of heroism that transcends medals and ceremonies. She honors her fallen unit not through grand gestures, but through faithful service, each repaired system a small monument to those who didn't make it home. True heroism, she demonstrates daily, doesn't need applause, it needs only the opportunity to continue serving. 6 months pass like seasons changing, and Sarah works on a critical infrastructure project that will ensure the base's water supply remains uncontaminated for decades to come. New personnel who've arrived since the incident don't know her story, treat her as nothing more than a skilled contractor who knows her business. She prefers it that way, the anonymity allowing her to work without the weight of others' expectations or misplaced reverence. The memorial wall project brings unexpected emotional weight to Sarah's routine. Base Command has decided to renovate the memorial to fallen service members, and Sarah volunteers for the foundation work, laboring alone in the early morning hours when the base is quiet and she can work undisturbed. It's there, in the pre-dawn darkness with only her work lights for company, that she discovers old plaques from Afghanistan casualties embedded in the deteriorating concrete. Her own name appears among the honored dead, etched in brass that's tarnished but still readable. Staff Sergeant Sarah Mitchell, 52nd Combat Engineering, KIA, Afghanistan, 2013. She kneels before it, her weathered fingers tracing letters that represent a life she can never reclaim. Tears fall silently onto stone that's supposed to mark her grave, each drop a testament to the strange grief of mourning oneself. The decision she faces in that moment could restore her official existence. With a few phone calls to the right people, she could reclaim her name, her rank, her history. Instead, she reinforces the memorial's foundation with special care, ensuring this monument to sacrifice will stand long after everyone who knows her secret has moved on. Her choice to remain among the honored dead isn't about hiding anymore. It's about keeping faith with the brothers she lost and the promise she made. The first iconic image comes at sunrise, when young airmen pass the memorial during their morning run. They render crisp salutes to the fallen heroes listed there, including Sarah Mitchell, while the real Sarah works 50 feet away in civilian clothes, invisible but present. She pauses in her work, her body automatically assuming the position of attention for the duration of their tribute. It's a moment of perfect symmetry, the living honoring the dead while the dead honors the living. Cultural change manifests in small but significant ways throughout the base. When a fresh security officer arrives and begins hassling contractors with the same prejudicial attitude Rodriguez displayed, senior personnel intervene immediately. "That's not how we treat people here," they say firmly, the lesson of respect having taken root in institutional memory. Sarah's influence spreads like ripples from a stone dropped in still water, each circle wider than the last. The ripple effect extends beyond Whiteman's gates. Contractors at other military installations report improved treatment, a shift in attitude that traces back to the story they've heard in hushed conversations. Word spreads through military networks about the importance of respecting civilian workers, of remembering that not everyone's service wears a uniform. Rodriguez's disgrace becomes a teaching moment, a cautionary tale about the dangers of judgment without understanding. The second iconic image captures the essence of Sarah's dual existence as her final workday ends. Her weathered hands pack tools with the same precision she once applied to diffusing explosives, each item cleaned and stored in its designated place. As the base flag is lowered at retreat, she stands motionless, despite being in work clothes rather than uniform, honoring the ritual that once defined her daily life. Other contractors, inspired by her example, follow suit, creating an unexpected moment of reverence that transcends official protocol. The drive home takes Sarah past familiar landmarks as sunset paints the sky in shades of amber and rose. Her radio plays news about a military recognition ceremony for recent heroes returning from deployment. She turns it off, preferring the silence that's become her companion through years of voluntary exile. On her dashboard sits a single photo, her old unit in Afghanistan, faces young and hopeful, unaware of the fate awaiting them in tunnels beneath ancient mountains. Her commitment to maintaining her cover remains absolute. At a traffic light, she rolls down her sleeves, hiding her story once again beneath fabric and silence. In the rearview mirror, the base flag flies at full staff against the darkening sky. She has kept her word to stay dead, served with honor in shadows where recognition cannot follow. The sacrifice continues, not from obligation, but from choice. Each day a renewal of vows made to ghosts she carries with her. Do you know any unsung heroes in your community? Honor them in the comments. The final revelation comes through investigation rather than confession. Local families of fallen soldiers speak in wondering tones about anonymous contributions that arrive when most needed. College funds that suddenly have enough for tuition, mortgages paid off before foreclosure, medical bills that disappear through charitable donations from an unknown source. Sarah donates half her contractor earnings to those left behind, her secret service extending far beyond base maintenance into the maintenance of lives shattered by loss. Her truck disappears down the highway as the camera pulls back to reveal the base perimeter in twilight. Security guards wave respectfully to departing contractors, a simple gesture that would have been unthinkable before Sarah's truth came to light. Her influence ripples outward, permanent, transformative, invisible as the woman herself chooses to remain. What started as one person's persecution has become an entire community's education in respect and recognition. The memorial wall stands illuminated in golden hour light, Sarah's name among the heroes carved in stone and brass. Fresh flowers appear regularly beside her nameplate, placed by unknown hands in the pre-dawn darkness. Some might be from those who know the truth, others from those who simply honor the fallen. The distinction doesn't matter. The dead who live on through others remember their own, whether they walk among us or rest beneath Arlington's grass. The closing image lingers on that memorial, on the name that represents both ultimate sacrifice and continued service. Sarah Mitchell died in Afghanistan and lives on at Whiteman Air Force Base, a ghost who fixes broken systems and broken assumptions with equal skill. Her story, never officially told, spreads through whispered conversations and changed behaviors, through respect given to those whose service takes unconventional forms. In choosing to remain dead, she's become more alive in the consciousness of those she serves than any ceremony could achieve. True heroes, after all, don't need parades. They need only the opportunity to continue their watch, whether in uniform or work clothes, whether recognized or invisible, whether living their truth or guarding it in silence.